All right, everyone, welcome in. John here. I'm the lead maintainer of the open source Latterly.io. This is a website that'll help you learn to code, land your first or next programming role, and grow your social and professional networks. And today I'll be building a marketing table. That's a table in my database that holds email addresses so that I can send marketing emails. I will also use it for other email blasts that aren't really marketing email blasts. An example would be emailing recruiters lists of candidates that are looking for roles. And that's really going to be key. So stick with me here, and I'm going to explain to you why I am not adding an email collection pop-up. That's something that I thought about pretty seriously. And this would be the flow if I had an email collection pop-up. So I'm doing a Teachable import. 3 years ago, Latterly had a Teachable site. It's still up, latterly.teachable.com. Well, this is going to be my logged in view. But anyway, that is being shut down. And that was one of the key reasons that I built Latterly as an open source tool. I was getting hundreds of people on the Teachable site, and then Teachable made a change. And they said, you can't have hundreds on the free tier. Now, if you have more than 10 students, you need to pay us a lot of money. And I said, no, none of my students are even paying. I think I made like $100 from all of my Teachable students. So it wouldn't have made financial sense. So that's why I built the open source Latterly. And now 3 years later, I'm ready to import their emails finally. And the question is, okay, how am I going to do that? I could just immediately create user accounts for all these people. But if they're inactive users, like I haven't talked to them in like 3 years in some of these cases. And that would result in user table bloat. And I don't want to do that. What I'd like to do is have users be like active site users and have a separate marketing table where I can target those people, and maybe it joins users. So like on the marketing table, I can detect whether you're signed up or not. And I can make different emails targeting different audiences, okay? But basically, I want to talk to these people and say, hey, y'all should come to the new website. And I want to do that in a way where I can track marketing email performance. So I'm interested in using this thing called Brevo. And here's some of the statistics that I can get. You know, was the email opened? Was it clicked? Did people unsubscribe and so forth? You can see I haven't started using it yet. But this is what I intend to do, is make a marketing table that's compatible with Brevo. You might also use a MailChimp or something like that. I'm going with Brevo, I think, because it had a generous free tier is basically my reason here. Brevo pricing. So I haven't really used them. I can't really advocate for them yet, but I'm giving them a shot because they have this free tier. Up to 300 emails per day. I don't need to use all that, right? And then if it works, the A/B testing is what I really like. So if this free tier seems to work, then maybe we'll go for the A/B testing. Okay? And I'm using this notably to attract free signups. There might be a different strategy if I was using this to monetize, right? Because then I could justify a higher price point and do more fancy things. But because these are free signups and there's only a few hundred of them, I don't want to spend a bunch of money on it, and I don't want it to be really complicated. I don't want to over-optimize on such a small audience. So then I thought, well, if I have email collection and I'm getting a bunch of emails, now it makes more sense to do more advanced marketing stuff, right? Okay, true, but here's the problem. People don't like pop-ups. So how am I collecting these emails? If you go to Latterly, if you go to the main site, it already gives you like the reasons that you should sign up, like right here. And a lot of people are signing up. So how much benefit would I gain from having a pop-up here that kind of tells you what's already here? So the pop-up says like why you should sign up. There is an opportunity to improve, and I'm going to do this by having a very just why sign up benefits article. So we have an article, why get premium, but there's not an article, why sign up for free. And so I do think on reflection, I do think it makes sense to add that. But I think I can just like link it on the site with a call to action on the site as opposed to a pop-up. So if you look at across the website, the main place where I do see that there are some users visiting and they're not getting a call to action already is the blog. So if I had a pop-up, I would restrict it to the blog because the other locations already basically have a call to action. There's some others like the this page. The tricky thing about this page is that recruiters often visit it. So I don't know that it makes sense to have a pop-up saying, hey, programmers, you should sign up, when a bunch of the viewers are not even programmers, right? So, feedback is welcome, chat. If I'm not an expert in sales and marketing, if you are, hit me with your feedback. It's more than welcome. But my intuition says, if I have a pop-up, it's just going to be on the blog. So I'm going down the rabbit hole. Okay, what if I do a pop-up? How do I do this well? And just like with emails, to get a good email, you want to A/B test. Similar with pop-ups, best practices are that you should A/B test. And what are we looking for when we A/B test? What are the levers? Well, one common lever is discounts. Size of a discount and then a timer. But the problem is these are all assuming a monetized flow, okay? And again, I'm trying to sign up free users. Well, what do companies that I am sort of relatively comparable to, what do they do for free? They don't have a pop-up. There's no pop-up here. The idea is you could sign up for free and then they might email market you to upgrade to premium. And I think that makes more sense in my flow as well. That already pre-filters who I'm even targeting to people that already have demonstrated interest, right? And that's what Codecademy does, for instance. So I'm thinking, the A/B testing on the offers doesn't make sense to me. Okay, what else? We can do things like intent. So another site here, ProProfs, PickReal. PickReal is the product. And this is really what I would look for. Okay, the green is how many people have seen the pop-up. And then I want to know, okay, so that many people saw the pop-up, how many of them converted? And converted to what? The answer is they would convert to a free sign-up account. There's a world where they convert directly from pop-up to premium. I don't see that working. I would need to do a bunch of stuff, like refactor the code so that you could... I would need to refactor the code so that you could go directly to premium without having a free account. Today, you need to have an account to even go premium. Does that make sense? That's like a constraint in the system. Maybe I should refactor it, but that's the way it is today. Okay. So, and then what does this pop-up say? It gives you all these reasons to sign up. Well, it seems like I should just point you to this blog article that I'm talking about. Why sign up? That's going to have all the talking points. So the call to action is going to be here. But then I can just advertise the page directly. So in terms of how do I get signups, I can just send people to this page directly instead of having a pop-up on my blog. Now, there still remains a bunch of blog articles. There's over 20 blog articles. So the question is, if I'm going to have an email pop-up for those people, so now we have these conditions. They're not logged in because I don't want to give you a sign up for free if you're already signed in. Oh, and then some of the other levers that show demonstrated efficacy include time. Let's see where the article is. We can change the call to action. We can change the images, whatever. I would only be asking for email, so I would minimize the stuff I ask for in the form. Yeah, here we go. Exit intent pop-ups. This could be cool, right? Call to action. The call to action would be a sign up. Yeah, we can change the button color. Okay, maybe we get a lift that way. Engagement timers. So the longer that you're on the site, you are more interested in the site. You're getting more value. You're more likely to convert. Yeah, this is the article that I want to show you. Okay. So if I'm going to do a pop-up, how do I do it? Well, if I show it to you right away, you might just bounce. That's the issue. So Nielsen has this cool graph. Probability of leaving over time. So if you show people the pop-up at the 20-second mark or later, you're going to have a lot less bounce and it's going to work better. Okay, cool. All right, so we can A/B test a timer. And then there's recommendations around how do I calculate the time. This guy says, considering your average homepage is about a minute, I think a good place to start testing is 30 seconds. So the idea is like 50% off of whatever your average is, because you want them to be interested, but you want them to not be about to leave. So they're gaining value, and then you go, oh, like you're enjoying the site, why don't you sign up for free? That's the idea. So I can see this working, right? And that resonates with this article from WisePops, which also says, I suggest 50 to 60 of the average time. Okay, cool. So we're seeing a consistent signal that if we're going to do a pop-up, A/B testing timing starting around the 50% mark of average session time makes sense. But time isn't the only way to measure user engagement. So the other is like scrolling and reading the page. So if you have a blog article and you're actually reading the blog article and getting value, most of these articles you're going to scroll, okay? So maybe we target the scroll event. And so they calculated pixels from top of page to engagement, and there's like a sweet spot, okay? This portion of the page is viewed nearly 3 times as long. Okay, so I don't just wait. You don't just land on my page and wait, but if you scroll, you're even more interested in the article. You're getting even more value. Particularly if I consider a popular article like the LeetCode one. Oh, this is LeetCode Solutions, but let's see. So this LeetCode article, if you're reading it, you're interested. Okay, you're going to scroll down, and now it makes sense to say, hey, why don't you sign up for free? And why would you want to sign up? Here are the reasons you want to sign up. And there's the article that declares basically help you land more interviews, help you pass more interviews, grow your network, grow your social content creation, gain soft skills, perform better on the job. Like, these are some of the reasons you would want to sign up, right? Access to the checklist to build out your portfolio. Okay. So I can make a pitch and it starts to make sense now. But this is a lot of complexity. So one thing I might want to do is, instead of building this into my site, I might want to outsource this complexity to a tool, particularly a tool that has a free tier capable of A/B testing like PickReal. So now I'm thinking, okay, I might implement this PickReal thing. That's what I'm thinking. And there's all these ways to tailor it, mobile versus desktop, great. So they can do the job, segmentation tests. Okay, I believe they can do the job, and they can show me the green curve. And they can show me, hey, all these people saw the pop-up and converted, but what would the counterfactual be? Wouldn't they have signed up anyway? We don't really know. We don't really know. And that's a problem that I haven't really got a solution to. It sounds like I'm going to be adding this pop-up and gaining like a kind of an unknown amount of value. If I get enough signups, at some point it starts to make sense. But here's the reason that I don't want to do a pop-up after all. Because I don't think I'll get that many signups this way. Because if you look at my actual Google Analytics, over the past, 90 days? Over the past 90 days, almost all the traffic is going to places that there would be no pop-up anyway. You have to get down to here, the Laterally LeetCode Standard Kata, before the pop-up starts to make sense to me. So here's a couple hundred people that saw it in the past 90 days. And so how many of these people are already signed up? I just don't think that I'm going to get a lot of, I don't think I'm going to net a lot of signups. You see what I'm saying here? I don't think I'm going to net a lot of signups, and it's a little bit risky that I might bother people that are already site users. So that's kind of where I'm at. It just feels like a lot of complexity and work. Cool, it's a free plan. But I'm getting a lift on 200, and I don't know what my baseline is. That's the issue. I don't know what my baseline is. So I'm introducing a lot of complexity for an unknown and small benefit. And that's the reason that I'd rather just avoid it and I'd rather just do other things. Now, at scale, maybe this makes sense. In Codecademy, to be fair, I don't think I specifically went to their blog. Maybe they do something different. Let's go to their blog. Okay, so we'll let this hang out. I'll scroll down to 1. We'll let this hang out a minute and scroll some more. And my question is going to be, do they give me a pop-up? Yeah, so they just do a call to action in the article instead of a pop-up. Well, they do have and they have a subscription widget. So this seems like a good idea that I didn't even think of. So I can do email collection without a pop-up using a subscription widget. So this could make sense to add this on the blog. And that avoids annoying people with pop-ups, right? Okay, so email capture overlay. We'll do email capture blog widget. We can hide if they're logged in. We can record this widget source to the marketing table. We can have at the end of each blog article and perhaps interspersed. And this widget can, this widget can link to why sign up for Laterally article. Okay. Guy Pierce. Pop-ups are great in the hired sector. We do get a ton of signups. The problem is the quality of the lead. Can you say more about that, Guy? Yeah, how do I distinguish the quality of an email marketing sign up from a free tier sign up? I think this doesn't hurt much to add. I'm just skeptical that I'm going to get many signups from it, but this feels a lot less intrusive than, you know, having to go through the whole A/B testing widget thing with a third-party widget. Okay, so now you can see why I am not doing an email capture pop-up or overlay. Because I don't think that I'm going to get many signups, and I don't have a good way to evaluate the counterfactual that they would have signed up anyway. And I'm worried about damaging the user experience of non-target audience, basically. Particularly recruiters. Okay, so why have a marketing table at all? Well, I should still have a marketing table, I think, for a couple reasons. One, I can intake these teachable emails. Okay, I could just deal with those sort of by hand, but if I deal with them by hand, I don't have a way to see the open rate. I don't have a way to A/B test content. And then I also want to be emailing recruiters anyway, so I think I want the table and the ability to blast emails anyway. For recruiters and for other places where I get an email, maybe from GitHub or something, I get someone's email and it's outbound. It's outbound marketing as opposed to people browsing the site. Because ideally, if they're browsing the site, the call to actions are already here. So I think that's the reason that it's still good to have a marketing table, but I don't need to worry about this stuff anymore. I don't need to worry about all this stuff. So it kind of simplifies things. This is just kind of standalone, I guess. Maybe like social media ads or something will go over there. So do I still want manage email preferences? Probably. Okay, so we have this, we're going to make this new marketing table. Now let's talk about that. So when exporting from Teachable, we need somewhere to put the data, and then here's some columns. Full name, first name, last name. I actually don't care too much about that. If they've opted out, I do want to know if they've opted out, if they've spent money. It seems useful. Yeah, if they've ever opened an email, if they have delivery errors. Yeah, these look good. Email address. Contact type. Notes. What would I put in the notes? I have a hard time thinking that I'd put anything in the notes, to be honest with you. It's probably an extraneous column. Yeah, let's get rid of that. I don't know what I would do with notes. And then has marketing opt out. I want to break that into a few. Link to user. So they're going to opt out for marketing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Has opt out for marketing. Has opt out for feature updates. Has opt out for event announcements. Has opt out for newsletter and blog. So if we like post a new blog article. Has spent money is a funny one. So for my days in fundraising, one of the best predictors that someone is going to donate is that they've donated before. That's the idea here. In the old Teachable site, I had the ability to sell discrete, just one-off items. The new site doesn't have that. It's just subscriptions. So I'd rather look, and that's managed through the user. It's not a standalone field on the marketing table. So I feel like I don't need that. There's only a few people from the Teachable site that spent money. So I think that number is small enough that I can just reach out to them individually. And I don't see this scaling in future usage. When I'm talking to recruiters, I might want some signal of this is like a more active or engaged recruiter. But the engagement signals I'm expecting to be managed on Brevo, like the email platform. Maybe I could just have like a general is high engagement. It feels like something I can add later if I have an actual use case though. So for now, I feel like I would want to drop that. Has ever opened email, has email delivery error. These feel like things that should be managed on the Brevo side. Yeah, let's see. What's the use case here? I think these should be managed on the Brevo side. I can come back and add them in the future if I need to. Good, so that feels like a good schema. Okay, so then I don't need this anymore. This is talking about how I want to update the terms and service now that there's 4 flags. So we can do all that. Email confirmed field. Seems like a good idea. No, because you're just going to sign up. You're just going to sign up, and that confirms the email, no? Confirmation email can encourage them to set a password if it's not a Gmail. No, I think I'll just... They're either signed up or not. That keeps it simpler for me. Okay, so then we can backfill all current users. Yeah. So we're going to want to backfill current users into the marketing table. And then, right, well, we should change terms and service first. Update terms and service stuff, then backfill. Okay, so let's make a marketing table. Yeah, and this is the big one, is we really want to avoid user bloat. So we still accomplish that with this design. We still accomplish that, and do we lose a bunch of signups? Not really, we get signups already. Direct site visitors are converting pretty well. And there's just not that many people that go to the blog. So that, yeah, the complexity of like managing A/B testing on a pop-up and the risk, but we can add the widget. So we can squeeze that rock a little bit. All right, do we need to have them confirm email and stuff? No. Well, let's see. Yeah, you go to the marketing table and you get, this is not a confirmation email. It's not a confirmation email, but it's just campaigns with Brevo support. Okay? So email campaign until they sign up for a standard account, and then they can manage their email preferences. There's also the possibility they directly unsubscribe to the email, but that's handled within Brevo. And this thing is kind of standalone. Let's see. There will be the new widget. Yeah. Campaigns could go here if we want. Wow, this looks really crazy, huh? If I move it over here, I guess it looks less crazy. So a campaign could send you to the Why Sign Up article, or the blog email capture widget could send you there. Actually, that will send you to the campaigns, won't it? But ads, web and social media, can go here. And maybe there's a lift, and that's what I'll test, right? Does like sending them here provide a lift relative to if they land on the home page? That's going to be, I think, interesting enough. Cool. Well, now I can close this. All right, let's bring up cursor. We have a feature branch. Okay, so we have this marketing table feature branch. And let's go update the schema. All right, update this schema to include a model lead. We'll call it a lead model, which is used for marketing purposes. This table has the following fields. It's going to need created at ID, updated at. Email, we just called email. Email is required. All other email, let's see, I'll use an asterisk. These fields are required. All others are optional. So should I default the contact type to unknown or default it to like a program, like an IC or a programmer? So I don't think recruiters are just going to be subscribing to that blog. I mean, maybe they will, but it would be fine, I think, to put them into a bigger pool. Rows, like opt-out is false by default. Opt-outs are false by default. When we load in a record, I would like to compare the user ID. Yeah, I'm gonna have to maintain that manually for now. So we'll make a script that it's like if your email is in the user table, then link the user ID. We'll do that as a second stage. So we'll default user ID to null. But yeah, user ID is a nullable integer. So contact type really is like, it's just like is recruiter. Did I lose my keyboard? What's going on? Is recruiter. I don't know what other contact type, maybe like an influencer. What other contact types would I have? Maybe is influencer is worth adding, but we can add that later, right? So the contact type would be nice. Instead of having like 10 different persona booleans, you could have one contact type, right? Although it's possible you might be a recruiter and an influencer. But I don't have an active need for the is influencer, so Yakni. So you ain't gonna need it right now, and we can add it later. So I think is recruiter works. So these fields are required, all others are optional. Booleans are false by default. Cool. See what we got. Okay, so here's the lead model. This is all formatted. So the user is optionally attached. Yep, that's what I want. ID created. Looks good to me. What do you think, chat? Looks good to me. All right. So we have a lead table. And yeah, anything else that I need to do for this? Well, let's go, yeah, the new marketing, like, manager preferences page. Okay, so this bit is good. Let's go to the terms. What is it called? Terms and conditions? I think it's privacy policy. Yep, so here's the Latterly privacy policy. Let me look at the rendered form briefly. So if we log in, so sign up. So this one just should say, like, by signing up, you agree to the privacy policy, basically. Okay, sign up. Okay. Add a small text under the form that notes by signing up, you agree to our terms. You agree to our terms. With a link to /privacy policy. All right, let's see how this looks. By signing up, you'd agree to our terms. Nice. It's low key, but it's there. Exactly what I want. Actually, not sure that I want it to be pink. Let's just make it permanently underlined. What does Codecademy do? By signing up, you agree to terms of service and privacy policy. Yep. We can capitalize it. Terms of service. By signing up, you agree to our terms of service. Cool. All right, and the terms, what do I say currently? So I want to make more explicit the those marketing flags that I added. Do we collect anonymous data? Yep, sometimes. Cool. In what situations do you collect personal data? If you create a Latterly account, or now the thing is like, or enter the email collection widget. And email is personal data, right? Yeah, I think so. If you make a purchase in the Latterly store, well, we don't have a store anymore. If you create a Latterly account, we collect some personal data to track your progress and customize your user experience. If you subscribe to email updates to our newsletter or email updates, we collect your email address. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, if I create an account, what will you collect? Valid email address is required. You can also add more information in your user profile. And so I want to link this. Are there any links on this page? Oh, okay, so this was like avoiding links so far. No, because there are links here. Okay. You can also add more information about yourself in your user settings page, though this is entirely optional, okay? And then you can learn more about user settings. Can any other organizations access my data? We do not sell your data, though we do utilize some third-party tools. For example, Latterly.io yeah, utilizes Vercel and Supabase. Yeah, that's fine. I could mention Brevo here now, like I could, but I think this is probably fine. Also, I don't necessarily want to tightly couple to Brevo. Latest version of the Latterly.io privacy Q&A was last updated on... Boop. Wow, that's crazy. Hadn't been updated in a while, huh? 03/29/25. 03, or like 3/29/2025. H2. It's also our terms including terms and conditions. Okay, I think it looks good, right? What do you think? So now let's make the, we'll update the database. npx, or let's see, I think I have a package JSON script for this. npm run db push. Database is now in sync. Let me look on my other monitor. Should have a lead table now. Yep, there's a lead table. Okay, so now I want to put myself on the lead table so I can make sure the opt-outs work. Okay. Should I just manually make a record? Yeah, let's do that. Let me manually make a record over here. I don't mind if y'all see my email address. So you can email me at this address, john@latterly.io. So let's make a script. We'll make a script which is create lead. So I'll tell Cursor, using the backup users script as a reference, create lead script, which specifically, or I guess I can put any email here. Yeah, I'll hard code it in the code. I don't care if it's a command line argument. Specifically creates a lead for John at laterally.io. And 2, connects to an existing user if the user, if there is a user record with a matching email address. In here I can say such that user.email is exactly equal to lead.email. And I want to see that link populate. Okay, so let's read through here. It tells us how to run it. Great, looks good to me. Check if a lead already exists. It's going to say no. It already exists. Okay, fine. It should say yes, there's an existing user. Will be null if no user exists. Okay, cool. Actually, that's going to be undefined. But in Postgres, the undefined is coerced to a null. Okay, that's fine. I can just delete that comment. Okay. The lead was created successfully. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So let's run the script. It's not pasting properly. Okay. Lead was created. It says is recruiter false. What about all the other? Why did it log that it's a recruiter or not? Okay. I don't need that log message. Okay, thanks though. Let's verify. Okay, I can see the lead record. Looks good to me. Is that my user ID? I didn't realize, okay. I'm number 1. I didn't actually realize that was my user ID. Okay, so here's the feature. This is create lead. Okay. And now what I want to do is go make the page. Okay, so here's the settings page. And now I want a new folder, which is email preferences. Okay, so we have the settings page. Using the settings page.tsx as a reference, let's make a new settings email preferences page.tsx. This page should allow users to manage their email opt-outs. And identify as a recruiter. I don't know about that one. Yeah, that's fine. right? Why would that not be fine? I don't know. Let's do it. Okay, so we're going to accept this stuff. This is the email preferences form wrapper. Yep. Email preferences page. Export default async. Why is it async? Yeah, okay. It's async. All right. Now, learn more about Laterally Premium is up here. Learn more about user settings. And now the user needs a way to manage their email preferences. Okay, welcome user ID 416. You're assigned into a premium account. Please email admin for help requests to update your subscription tier or for general inquiries. Where should we put it? I'd rather bury it, to be honest with you. Features and interests. Okay. Hopefully this results in lower usage, because I don't really want people to opt out. Yeah, email preferences. It doesn't need a subheading. It can just be a paragraph. Actually, it can just be a link. Okay, manage email preferences. Why is that not showing up by the submit button? Oh, okay. No, that's not how I want it. Let's see. Just putting it in a section help. Manage email preferences. Okay. But I need it to look like a link. Manage email preferences. Maybe I should say email subscription preferences. Okay. Whoa, that's bad. You're importing a component that needs use state. Okay, so we should just mark it as use client, basically. All right. This button, we don't have a, there is no button like that. I don't think, is there? Yeah, it's labeled checkbox field. And then how is the button called? It's just a button. Update the email preferences form wrapper to use labeled checkbox field and a lowercase button as implemented in the settings form. Use field must be used inside of a form component. Has it not? It's I know you've seen the settings. Come on, I showed you how the form looks, dude. I might want to switch it over to Claude here momentarily if it keeps acting dumb. I have it set to the cursor auto. Sometimes it picks a dumb model though. Okay, email preferences. Manage your email preferences and communication settings. We respect your privacy and will only send you emails based on your preferences. I'm a recruiter. See, it just looks weird. It just looks weird. Okay, we should put it under like just another checkbox over here that's like receive candidate profiles. I'm a recruiter, receive candidate profiles. I'm a recruiter. Send me recruiter-specific updates and job seeker profiles. Okay, good. I think that makes more sense. Well, this says what you would like to receive. The double title here is not super cool. Okay, so this one can go away. I want some kind of a margin here. Can I put it right here? Right? Well, actually, this kind of looks okay. Yeah, this looks okay. Cool. So the raw settings here shouldn't be a user settings. That's one difference. We'll commit where we're at. So here's the email preference form. All right. We're going to update the router. Update the user router to get lead to get lead data for a user with a new route. We can call it get email preferences. Call it get lead email preferences. Want to make sure I didn't break my tests on this user router. Okay, so what did I change here? Get lead email preferences. Cool. Good job instruction following. If no lead exists, create one. I don't want to do that. Well, okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. If no lead exists, create one. All right, so you're logged in. We verify your email. If no lead exists, create one. And then we want to also be able to update it. Yeah, cool. I'll stage this. I'm going to check my tests real quick. Okay. User router is still good to go. And so now update the email preferences page and to use these new routes. Yeah, on success, we should display something to the user. What do I do on the settings page? Alert updated successfully. Okay, that works. Copy the error handling as well. Okay, I don't quite want to do that. Sorry. I set is submitting false, good, and then I alert successfully, and then I router.refresh. This is the bit that I'm missing. Console error, alert, cool. Okay. I think it looks good. Let's see. I think I might need to flip a Boolean. Whoa, this is all back? Yo, I got rid of this stuff. I'm using one of the dumb cursor models. That really annoys me. Forgot what I told it. Okay. That looks better. Select which types of emails you would like to receive. Okay, and the binding is a flipped Boolean. That's the thing. Right? Okay. So now let me try to update. Oh, I didn't even realize I was logged in with a different email, but cool, the lead creation worked. So this is my Gmail. All right, good. Good. And now I do not want to hear about any new features, bro. Leave me alone. Don't tell me when there's new features. Oh, why did that do that? And it recorded inverse. Okay, it recorded inverted. Did I just not refresh a page or something? Now everyone's false. Let's see. I'm looking at my other screen here. Now everyone's false. Good. Leave me alone about this thing. Okay. No. What's going on, dude? Something is wrong. Good thing we're testing, eh? Use mutation. Update. There's a Boolean, there's like a Boolean issue somewhere. Okay. I can't just do that, can I? There's no way that's going to work. Did that work? I would like to receive marketing emails. So, okay, that's not working. So from the database perspective, this should be false because the opt-out should be false. Database perspective, marketing is true. Okay, so it's inverted. Here's the get. We're getting it correctly. That's not the issue. When we update it, it's inverted somehow. Okay, so the settings come in. And yeah, okay. This is the tricky part. Does this thing have a value thing? Does that work? Initial settings, not opt-out marketing. No, I should be using the initial values. Okay, so we can flip it here and then flip it back here. That makes sense. So, okay, got it. Has opt-out marketing, let's say once marketing. Can you get the pattern now? Once marketing is going to go over here. Once marketing, once feature update. Okay, it gets the pattern. Great. Once marketing, once feature updates. Yep, once newsletter and blog. Cool. So where's the initial settings? Oh, initial settings. Sorry, I messed that up. So I'm doing this really badly. These values, are they used anywhere else? Email preferences, form values. Yeah. Okay, so this is the decoupling I need to do. So you're actually different types. You're going to be z dot object Okay, so y'all are going to be basically inverts except for the recruiter bit. Submitted values. So the submitted values are going to be these things. Okay. Okay, this is a type, not a Zod. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So these are the submitted values. And you're happy, right? Has opt out. Yeah. But the form itself is going to be showing once. Good. So you have the has, and then here is the once. So it's not going to let me submit these values. Okay, so this is wrong again, z.infer. This is what's passed into the function. You're the once, and then I need to flip it over here. I need to flip it over here. Cool, all right. Well, that was really painful. Let's check tests. And let's see if it works now. So now, you think that I want feature updates only. Has feature update opt out false. Okay, so this is actually correct. Now I want nothing. Everybody is false, right? Now all my opt-outs should be true. Opt out, opt out, opt out, cool. But I changed my mind. I want to see everything. Okay, we're not getting that bad toggle anymore. Opt-outs are all false, but I changed my mind again. I actually am really sick of the events. I don't like those events. And I have only one opt-out true. Perfect. Perfect. I think I want like a back to settings, but I don't need it because I can just go right here. Great. All right, this looks good to me. This is the lead settings routes. Cool. Anything else that I want to do for this?